Okay, we're looking at week 3 now. Our reading is 2 chapters from this PDF booklet. And the PDF booklet, skip the first chapter, come right here. Chapter 2, Latest Trends for UI and Consumer Electronics. Very good chapter to read. And it keeps going. And number 3, Methodology. Another good chapter to read. Okay, you're thinking about a lot of these things right now as you put together your screen, so I think this is a good chapter to review. And again, this is from a company that designs user interfaces for appliances for a living, and here they are touting their techniques and their skills. So this is a good thing for you to learn. Okay, and again, we'll write a summary on that, 3 points that you find significant, and you can explain those in your own words. All right, for the booklet, we need some kind of grid. Now, normally for the class, I define the size of the screen, and I define whether it's a vertical or horizontal. Well, in this case, I'm not going to, because I don't know what you're up to. You might be making a user interface screen for a vacuum. It might be round. And somebody else might be doing a fridge. It might be a vertical rectangle. So you're going to define that. And once you define that screen, I want you to divide it up into some rational grid, most likely to support your home screen and the navigation. Is the navigation across the bottom, across the top, across the left side, etc. All right. Your flow chart. This should come rather easily to you now because you defined your main and secondary features. So you know you're going to start with your home screen, and then that's going to lead to the key features, and sometimes they'll lead to more, and sometimes they'll break off into secondary features. So you should be able to get your flow chart figured out, and I want you to make some kind of statement related to the flow chart, just describing what it is. Okay, your navigation system. There's 4 different types of navigation systems. Let's look at this sample a little bit closer. If you ever want to do that, you can just right click or control click and say open image, a new tab. Okay, here are the 4 different ways that are standard navigation, and this has kind of been standardized by Apple starting in 2007. So many of us were quite familiar with the smartphone, and because of that, we know these systems. We may not know them by name, but tab bar is probably the most common. And of course, you have a bar at the bottom with tabs or icons. Tree structure, I feel like this is the most unuseful. I really don't like tree structure. Think about the navigation when you're trying to get through your, say, system preferences on your phone. That's what this would be. And it's a mess. But I don't know if there's a better way. The cards or flat pages is another system. Think about your weather app. It's usually a city is a single card, and then you can flip through them. And then immersive, that's usually games, and they don't follow any system. They might make a system completely unique and different just for that application, usually that game. In this case, maybe immersive is a good way. I would tend to consider this. I would strongly consider some kind of tab bar. I don't really think tree or cards is that useful for appliances. So I would be thinking tab / immersive. And immersive, you can basically do anything. You could put, a row of navigation here, another one here, you know. But of course, it has to make sense and it has to be useful. So, okay, so you're going to define what you want to do for your navigation, and you'll point out, thus again helping future employers hire you, that you understand what the four systems of navigation are. All right. Typography. You're going to have to pick a typeface. And I would pick a sans serif. That seems to go best with screens. I do have one thing for you to consider, and that is if you go to the resources, there's a typeface that was specifically built for user interface screens, and it's Apple's version of Helvetica, and they call it San Francisco. Okay, do you have to use this? No, but this is a free typeface. It's very large. It's clean, easy to read. So it is something you could at least consider using, and that's up to you. Oh, in fact, this is right here, those samples, that is San Francisco. So this person did choose to use San Francisco, and you can see that, it's a very neutral, quiet sans serif that would not interfere with anything. All right, and then you're going to hope you can build some screens, that you have your everything figured out, and you're going to have to kind of figure out color too. I know I didn't ask for it yet, but if you're going to be building screens, you're going to have to start thinking color. Now, when it comes to automotive interface, we're probably going to go dark mode. Appliances, they don't feel like they need the dark mode as much as an automotive design would. So I could see you going dark, but I'd probably go light screen rather than dark mode myself for most interfaces. Like, imagine a dark screen on a vacuum. The interface is really small. You make it really easy to read. I'd probably put white background, black text. All right. So you're going to build your screens. You're going to start thinking about the color palette, because you can't build screens without color palette. And icon unity. For icon unity, let's look at these samples right here. Notice all these icons are in outline form. In other words, if this arrowhead was filled in as a solid white, it would be what I would consider a solid icon. Instead, it's drawn with a stroke. So I consider this an outlined icon. So there's, in general, 3 ways to create the icons. You could either do solids, like some of these are down here. Well, to some degree, that one is. You could do outline, or you could do a combo where some of it's outline, some of it's solid. Okay. It doesn't matter to me which way you go. What matters is you're consistent. So I want all your icons to be outlines, I want all your icons to be solids, or I want all your icons to be a combination of the two that balances out, like 50% solid, 50% outline on every single icon. You're also going to try to make your icons equal in weight. Like this weighs about as much as that visually. This weighs just about as much as that visually. This one seems slightly lighter. These seem about the same. So think about that. In other words, don't have a super complex icon and a super simple one. You want them to be very, very similar, like they're a stylized family. Okay, the last thing to think about icons too is when they're active. For example, right now we're on the battery page of the Tesla. It's highlighted. I can tell that I'm on this page because, well, the screen's darker and the icon is lighter. And when I'm not on the page, it's a gray on a lighter gray. So do you have an active state for your icon and an inactive state for your icon? That would be a smart thing to choose. Okay, so that's enough about icons, but that's the general idea for week 3. I hope you find it useful. Email me if you got questions. Thanks.